Finance Committee. To my right is Mr. Rozelle. To my left is Mr. Phillips. We are here today to discuss and provide a recommendation for a sewer rate adjustment of 5% per year for a 5-year term. Included in there, I assume, we'll also touch on the water rate non-increase, which is complementary to the sewer rate increase. So at this stage, I will turn it over to Mr. Titterington for his comment, or are you the one talking, Salome?
Salome Hecate is here. She's the one who did the analysis. I'll just summarize to say that, as you mentioned, we have looked this over, we being Mr. Frigge, as well as Salome and I, looked this over and do not believe that a water rate increase is necessary. However, in the sewer fund, you have a chart that shows the history of those rate increases. They've been sporadic, but with our soon to, I would say future, but near future investment, significant investment in expanding the sewer plant, rate increases for the next 5 years are, we believe, necessary. Salome can walk through the analysis.
Good evening, Salome Hecate, Management Analyst. As Mr. Titterington mentioned, we did utility rate analysis.
Salome, I'm sorry. I'm very hard of hearing, and even with the microphone, it's
Okay.
difficult to hear your voice. If
yell.
you would, please.
I'll try to project my voice better. Salome Hecate, Management Analyst. As mentioned, we conducted utility rate analysis. This analysis is done in every 5 years. City Director and City Auditor, they have determined that water fund and water rates should not be adjusted at this time in next five years. But because of the 3 significant projects scheduled next 5 years, they have determined that 5% sewer rate increase is necessary for starting from 2023 through 2027. And then in the memo, we have included attachments. Attachment second shows Troy Water Fund financial pro forma, which will show you that the ending balance in 2027 will be above target balance. But attachment 4, Troy Sewer Fund financial pro forma, you will see that the first part of the form shows no increases, and then ending balance does not meet target balance in 2027. And at the bottom of the page, you see the 5% increase, and then in 2027, it will be near, the ending balance will be near to target balance. And also, there are attachment 5 and attachment 1 that shows you the history of the rate increases in City of Troy. And also, I would like to note that the rate increase, 5% in sewer fund, will affect every tier. And then as an example, we have included on the page 2, it will show you the change in minimum rate, and then 201 to 5,000 cubic feet. So that, as I said, the increase, if it is approved, will affect every tier. Do you have any questions?
Just also to note, as Salome mentioned, there are 3 projects that are significant that need to be in this 5-year plan, the capital plan, and that is, of course, the expansion of the plant, our annual sewer pipe relining program, which any of you that have gone through those recommendations before, relining the pipe rather than waiting for it to collapse saves about 75% of the cost of reconstruction and repair. And then, this is getting into the weeds, but we do need to eventually replace the sludge holding tank, recirculating pump, and blower. And if anybody would like a detailed demonstration, please let us know and we'll take you through the plan. It is important to note, though, in trying to manage and hold down the rate increases as much as possible, staff took a more critical look at the overall capital improvement plan. So the capital improvement plan includes 5-year plans for not only administration, so that would be the design, the architecture, and the engineering that we might have to pay for any projects, as well as plant capital, as well as the utility, the sewer lines. And in at least 3, if not 4 projects, we've deferred, and the staff is relatively confident that we can do this, approximately $4.5 million worth in previously scheduled 5-year capital projects to outer years, so that we, again, could manage and keep down to the 5% level. So we think that it's as minimal as possible. Mr. Frigge has looked at all of these spreadsheets. We had discussions with him and as well as the mayor, and they're in agreement that 5% each of the next 5 years is what's needed to keep the fund not only solvent, but with full coverage.
Yeah, I talked to Mr. Frigge. I texted him Friday at 5. I asked him if he's good with the sewer rate at 5% annual. Seems kind of high. What do you think? He says, yes, it is high, but together with a 0 increase in water, it's acceptable. Thanks for asking. So he's all on board with that too. And I think you mentioned it, but I think it is important to say water is not going up. So it's really just a sewer rate. So, Mr. Rozelle, any comments?
Just, I mean, to add to John's comments, it might be high, but you got the 3 projects coming up that need to be covered. Yeah.
Mr. Phillips, any comments?
This, yes, thank you. We're dealing with capital projects only as the reason for this increase. We're not looking at wages or anything to do with employees, but these are infrastructure needs.
Well, let me clarify. So in attachment 4, the pro forma includes all operating and capital. So it does include staff, it does include benefits, it does include then, all the supplies and everything we need to run the system. It does not include increases to staff or significant increases in operating costs other than our typical projected inflation.
Right.
We're not anticipating an exorbitant hike in healthcare or other benefits, for example. We're using the same notes or the same assumptions that we would use in any of our 5-year projected pro formas.
If there was a way we could control the effluent or reduce the effluent, we wouldn't necessarily need the upgrades, but I'm trying to put this very politely.
I'm looking for the cameras so that I'm off.
You've answered my question, thank you.
It's, as we've talked before, when we analyzed the need for the $15 million expansion project, it's a combination of things. We continue to grow, especially on the commercial and industrial side. Our residential usage, the typical household does not generate that much stress on the plant. Okay. But we are nearing capacity. We also have a new wastewater permit that we're in process of getting accepted by the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, the OEPA. Those standards, the standards for treatment, the levels that we have to eliminate of chemicals, metals, et cetera, they continue to go up as well. And so those bear additional costs. and require some additional treatment, which increases the chemical and other processes, but also reduce the effective rate of capacity at the plant. So all those factors come into play when we look at what we need.
For our folks that are limited means, this is still not affecting those that are exempted? Is that?
They're not exempted, but anything under 200 cubic feet of use, 201 cubic feet of use pays a minimum. Now, that will go up 5% each year as well, but the base rate still continues to stay very low.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Any other council members? Mr. Pierce?
You said water rates aren't going up for now, based upon your projections. When do we look at that again to determine if water rates would go up?
In 5 years, so that will be 2027.
Thank you.
But of course, every year, city director and city auditor, they look at the funds, and it's constantly reviewed. And if they see that there's something that needs to be addressed, it may come up. But at this time, they're comfortable to say that the next 5 years we should not expect rate increases in the water fund.
Any other council members? Anyone in the audience? I would note, I don't think we directed much public attention to this, but we're still, even with the 5%, going to be in the top third of the lowest community sewer rates.
Bottom third.
Yeah, however you want it, yes. The cheapest third of, which, I mean, even, we're cheaper than communities as Greenville and West Milton, so, communities over there, so. Anyways, nicely done, Salome. Anyone else have any questions? Anything else before the Finance Committee?
Now you want to get some.
Oh, I guess I should ask that question, shouldn't I? Mr. Rozelle, what is your desire?
Move forward.
Mr. Phillips?
We're going to have to move forward as staff is recommending.
I concur, we'll move forward, and this meeting is concluded. This